In a world plagued by reboots, haunted by sequels, dominated by the same old shit, get ready for an original podcast that will gouge out your eyeballs and skull fuck you. Starring Ginger Josh, Adam the Hare, and introducing the immortal Frank. Hold on to your butts. It's the Game Rage Movies TV Podcast.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if this is a sad day or a happy day.
Oh, shit. It's a bit of a sad day because it basically means that I can't go on autopilot anymore. We got to figure out what our next show is going to be.
Yeah, we have to figure out what we're going to watch next. But, I mean, that's why it's a sad day. It's a happy day because, I don't know, now I don't have to watch this show for another fucking year. But today is going to be the season finale of episode 3, episodes 9 and 10 of
Season
The Bear.
3.
Season 3, yeah. But before we get into that, if you want to listen to more of our stuff, you can go to GameRageMagazine.com. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine, Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag, YouTube, Game Rage Magazine. You can also go and follow Adam at All Gas No Trash Official, and you can go listen to the All Gas No Trash podcast if you like music. Additionally, you can listen to the Anime Syndicate podcast if you like that, because if you like movies and TV, you probably like anime. And then if you want, you can go follow there at anime_syndicate_podcast. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get into it.
Fuck, I'll be honest. I'm thankful I have notes because I already forgot what the fuck happened.
I literally had to bring up the thing because I was like, wait, what the fuck happened? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. As I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, now I remember.
All right, now I remember. Because I'm looking at my notes and there was some shit that pissed me off. They added, I'll just say up front, episode 9, what the fuck? They had this whole thing with Martin Scorsese talking about magic.
Yeah, man.
For 10 fucking minutes. Or
it was long. It felt like a third of the episode.
And I'm like, dude, I get it. I see that this is going to tie into the episode itself. But fuck, man. Get to the goddamn point.
It literally did. This was like completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
I don't even understand what the point of it being that long was. Like, you could have said that in maybe 90 seconds. Maybe even less. Maybe a minute you could have done all that.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, man. It's exactly what Al Ewing does in Immortal Hulk, where he has an excerpt, a quote from a book, and maybe we could have just got maybe a minute or two of Martin Scorsese talking about some bullshit.
Yeah.
And then you tie it into the episode or whatever, but goddamn, a whole speech?
Yeah, I thought I was watching a fucking documentary. I was like, did I click the right fucking thing? Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, man. I was taken back by it. Anyways, we'll start working our way through the episode itself. Oh shit, there's quite a bit of notes that I wrote. So we start off with like Carmine the facts. Apparently, like, the running joke now is that they've the crushing of the boxes, like they keep revisiting that for some reason. I don't know why. And then Ted, who is the brother of Neil Fack, he's like, oh man, what if we're crushing boxes because Claire haunted our ass? And then Carby's like, nah, man, she wouldn't do that. She is serenity, or she is peace. I don't think she's capable of doing that. And then Ted's like, well, what do you mean? Like, do you think she's a piece of ass? Or like, what do you mean by that? It's like, no, she's tranquil. Like, why would she do something like that?
Yeah.
So, and then later on, like 30 seconds later, he's like, nah, she's probably haunting her ass. Well, at least that's what Carby says. So now it's been revealed that Sid has been proposed an offer for a position as a CDC. I don't even know what that acronym stands for. I'm guessing it's just the most senior position as head chef of a restaurant or something. And she's trying to figure out her words, and then
it means chef de cuisine, the overseer of all aspects of the back of a house at a restaurant.
Okay. This part was really sad, somewhat. But then Sid is kind of like whack herself sometimes.
Yeah.
But Carmy was talking about dishes, and then Sid was coming up with her own 2 cents about what they could do for some of the menu items because they change it constantly on a daily basis.
Right.
And Carmy just throws it out the fucking window. He's like, no, I think we're gonna go with this. No, I think we're gonna go with this. So it's like, what is she doing there?
Yeah, there's no point. She has no job. Like, her job is just to do whatever the fuck he tells her to do. And that's what kind of sucks is that really wasn't, I feel like, how he presented this opportunity to her. And that's why I think she's having a fucking hard time deciding of what to do about this offer that she's got. Because, so there's 2 aspects here. There's the aspect of, okay, I can continue doing this thing that might fail and basically just be like kind of number 2, I guess.
An underling
of this dude. Or I could go with this guy, do something there, but now she remembers what happened the last time she tried to do her own thing and how that failed miserably. So I think that's where she can't make the decision. Is she's like, fuck, I kind of maybe almost don't want to be here anymore, but I'm too scared to go out on my own and try this because what if I fuck this up like I did the last time?
Yeah, but she's already kind of demonstrated that she was capable of running a restaurant when, like at the end of season 2, episode 10, the finale or whatever, when Carmy got locked in the thing, she was capable of doing it. She just needs, she was smart enough to delegate to people, and
right.
So she is capable. She's kind of fucking.
I think she's just a head case.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I think she's also a head case, and I don't think that I think she needs that security blanket of not being like the buck doesn't stop here with her, right? And so there's always someone else she could go ask permission for. So if she fucks it up, well, hey, this guy told me, like, you made that decision there, buddy, not me. Yeah. Now it's all on her if she does make a bad decision.
And she has slipped back into that where she could possibly have someone to blame, because even in that season 2 finale, she's like, oh wait, can we have Marcus like help me out or whatever? She wanted somebody else so that she could share the burden of doing this shit.
Yeah.
And then also possibly somebody to fucking blame. But anyways, so they have that conversation, and then in the midst of this, visually, we're seeing like the divide between Carmy and Richie. It was kind of a cool shot. It was like a cross section of the restaurant itself, the front of the house, the back of the house, and just further showing the descent between probably two of the most important characters. And then after the night's over, Richie's looking over the wedding invitation that Tiffany had given to him for his ex-wife's like wedding with her new partner or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Sweeps comes in. He's like, man. He's like, what's up? We missed a birthday for the front of the house. And he was like, oh shit, I fucked up. That's on me. I think it's kind of evident that Richie's not all there. Not mentally, like he's psychopathic or whatever or anything like that. It's just that I think that burning question or burning thought from his daughter about him being alone is something that has been plaguing him, and also, again, like the relationship between him and Carmy. And then, fuck, man, it's really sad when you see like Sid and Carmy have these check-ins, like when they're kind of checking each other out.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what's going on with you? And you have those sincere moments, and then at the flip of a fucking switch, when they get to service, he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, they're trying to kill each other.
So during that conversation, Sid is trying to work up the courage to talk about the offer that Garrett has proposed to her and everything, but never actually pulls the trigger on it. And then Carmy brings up that he says he's basically being a prick to Sid, and he wished he didn't have to be that way. But it wasn't exactly an apology. It's like, I know I'm being a shithead.
Yeah.
It was like, where's the rest of me?
Yeah. Fucking asshole.
And then, so in the midst of this conversation, he's like working on a dish, and then 10 seconds later, he fucking throws away a dish that he was working on. And that was kind of funny. And then we get Carmy, who goes to the fridge, basically PTSDing about his little speech about how Claire is a burden on him and all this bullshit. He actually goes to the fridge, the same spot where he said all that bullshit, and he looks on his phone and checks out his messages. Like, it's so sad, dude. Like, he's fucking weird. He's a weird fuck.
Yeah.
And then we get like weird flashes of Claire from the past, like their relationship, some of their sweeter moments, and he can't bring himself to call Claire, apologizes under his breath. And then we get Marcus, who's putting up his own inspiration wall, much like Richie with whatever picture he put up in the office. I forgot what the specific thing was. So then Marcus, Tina, and Sweeps are arriving at the restaurant, and this is to me what kind of is saving the season. Is like the auxiliary characters are, they don't have like the same problems as the major characters like Sid, Richie, and Carmi. They're so motivated to achieve like their own small aspirations. For Tina, it's to be sous chef. Like, she's showing up to do extra hours on her own time to be better. Fucking Sweeps is like working with the bottles. I don't know what wine bullshit he's doing. Marcus is like trying to come up with more recipes for desserts and shit. So it speaks, for me, it speaks about what was said about Legacy, about how at one point there are a number of people that work at one spot, and then they develop, they spread out and do their own thing. Like, imagine at the end of season 4, like the fucking bear goes under, but Marcus opens up his own pastry shop.
Yeah.
Or some bullshit.
Right, yeah.
And then Tina opens up
or does something, yeah.
So, and then maybe at one point they all converge again. Who the fuck knows? But that's the reason I pivot towards liking this season personally. But yeah. Shit, here we go. So Jimmy and Carmi are catching up. He's going, I guess he's going on a flight or something. And he's like, all right, where we at, dude? Where we at with this restaurant? Things are going not perfectly well, but it's feasible right now. Like, I know I'm $800,000 in the hole.
Yeah.
What's the score right now? And he's like, well, I mean, it's all kind of hinging on this review. And Jimmy's like, I kind of need this thing to fucking make some goddamn money.
I need this thing to work, man. Listen, I need this to work. There's not a choice. And he kind of tells him, but he doesn't really tell him, like, hey, man, if like this shit doesn't work, I'm gonna have to pull the plug. Like, basically, if this review's bad, I gotta pull the plug.
Yeah. So Jimmy goes on about this whole lecture that he went to, because he went to some fucking TED Talk.
Yeah.
And he's talking about breakthroughs in science and culture. And he makes it a note that a lot of the breakthroughs that have come, a lot of the things that have happened in research or science or even culture itself have happened in Chicago itself. So he goes on to say that if dreams and goals are nurtured, no matter how long it takes, things can happen. And I feel like he's kind of possibly tying that into the restaurant itself, but they have like a limited window to succeed. And
right,
he's given them basically like 6 months to turn a profit or whatever. But I'm sure he does want to give them like a year or whatever. But as it is later revealed that Jimmy is in a position where he's going to be losing money because he fucking made some wrong picks in the stocks or whatever.
Yeah, he can't cover his shorts basically. So he's like, You gotta pull out. You gotta make money, or you gotta sell this shit, or get rid of it. So it ain't much time. Time's running out.
Yeah.
And then he tells him to go fuck himself, which is pretty funny. Like,
and then they kind of have like this sincere moment about Jimmy, who's been having regrets or even sympathy towards the Berzatto family with his brother Mikey passing away for Carmi, and like just everything that came out, and including his father being vacant in their lives. He's like, I wish I could have helped them out more. He's like, well, what could you, Carmi's telling me, he's like, what could you have fucking done different? Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, at least you're fucking here now. And then there was like a funny, like the last thing they say is like, oh yeah, so, we'll call it square, right? He's like, you didn't show up for us when we needed you, but now you're covering me for the restaurant. He's like, we're square, right? He's like, oh yeah, and the $800,000 that you fucking owe me.
yeah.
So then Computer and Jimmy, referring to the thing that you were talking about early, Computer and Jimmy are talking about the Bears end, and he's like, it's not even a question. It's like it's the bear is going to end at some point because Jimmy made some bad plays in the stock market, and he's like, I need to cover my shorts. And then we cut over to Tiff and Richie talking about the wedding, and she makes it a point that she herself doesn't have family, and Richie's basically her only family, and then they finally have the kind of discussion that has been planted from the first episode of season 3 about him being alone, and she apologizes for making that comment, and that Richie's like, I don't want people to worry about me. He's like, I'm perfectly fucking content with like my life as it is and all that shit. And then Tiff brings up that she talked to Claire or something, and she mentioned how Carmy made up or said all those things that at that soft opening that they had. Tina whips up a plate that Marcus tries, and he tries the again, this is the part that's like saving it for me, is that like Marcus went to Copenhagen. Tina is like starting to come to her own with her cuisine or culinary skills, and then their different schools of thought afforded them an opportunity to make the dish just a little bit more interesting, or to elevate the dish to another fucking level. Yeah, like that's fucking cool. Like I'm glad these two characters are becoming more refined, I suppose. So then Carby's like drawing in his bullshit in his journal with like the pictures and everything of dishes he's dreaming up, and then Sid's like in a pensive mood. Carby's like looking through his old books. Ted and Neil go on their way to meet with Claire, and Sid takes food to Sugar and her family. Pete was basically the person that Sid had appointed to looking at her contract, because she didn't have the balls to look over her own contract. He's like, it's $70,000 and it's got bennies after 3 months. Yeah. But I don't remember what the other offer was, but it was basically like the same thing.
Well, yeah, it was more. It was $80K, and everything was immediate for the other guy, for the other dude. And she was like, because that's when she was like, oh, I just got to survive 3 months. Yeah. We just have to stay open for 3 months, and then I get paid. Yeah. Which I will say, I mean, the deal he's offering is kind of the same deal. Partner stake, $80K salary, everything immediate, benefits, all that right away. And it's like, that dude's hooking you up, man. Like, and that's the one thing that sucks about running like a small business, especially with people that you know, because it's like, all right, like we gotta people can't be getting paid, and I don't know if Carmy's getting taken pay or whatever, but like, okay, obviously Richie's fucking getting paid.
The whole staff are.
Everybody on the staff's getting paid, because you got to pay them first. That's first and foremost. So like, when you're in that top leadership role and you're gonna be making a lot of money, yeah, you got to take some time where you can't get paid, because we need to stay open and survive and cover costs and do all this shit. So like, that's where I don't know if that deal for her that she has with the bear is the best deal, obviously. And it's contingent upon the thing actually fucking surviving. And sure, as with anything, you can fucking lose your job, right? Like you could lose it. With this new thing that this guy's offering, that could go under in fucking 6 months.
It's true. But it's also a thing of, it's better to know, I forgot the expression, but the way I'm going to paraphrase it, it's like, it's better to know the devil you know.
Yeah, it's the devil you do versus the devil you don't. Yeah. That's what it is. And that's where I think, well, personally, like for me, if I had that choice, I mean, the choice is I'm going with them. Like, I'm going with the guys who fucking brought me to the dance. I would stay at the bear, because even if it does fail, like we did it together. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this would be, who knows what the fuck you're getting into with this other thing. And it's about loyalty too, because like that's another thing that it's like when you think about a relationship, right? If you enter into a relationship with somebody who's got a girlfriend or married or whatever, and okay, how could you ever trust them if you guys, they left each other and then you eventually got together, right? How could you ever trust that motherfucker? Because the only way that they were with you was while they were cheating on their fucking person they were with. So it'd be the same thing with this. Like, how could I ever trust you to fucking stay here if you're just gonna blow out? If I coaxed you into coming over, oh well, that means you're just like easily easily swayed or easily tricked. Like, no, I want some fucking loyalty, right? If I'm doing this shit.
Yeah, I think if anything, it's I hate to say it, but it's Sid's own fault for not being more vocal. I mean, she's capable of drawing the line when Carmy has gone too far emotionally, when he just becomes unhinged and shit. But she also needs to fucking say, like, hey, you brought me on to be part of this, and you recognize my brilliance, and I know I have my shortcomings, but I would prefer to do this with you, but you also need to show me some fucking respect. Like, but she doesn't vocalize that.
Right, and she needs to be like, yo, partner, bitch. Like, partners, not fucking subordinate.
Yeah.
Right? Like, equal decision-making power or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And he's been basically doing that since the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, he abruptly makes decisions, and he doesn't consider her. So I think in that regard, that plays to her favor, I suppose, or builds a case for her. But it's also just her lack of standing up for herself to make it. I mean, like this deal, right? Like this fucking deal would theoretically work out better for her, but it's like, well, you're under the tutelage of somebody that has already done it, that's made Michelin or has gotten Michelin stars. So it's like, I would rather be under the advisory of somebody that pretty much knows cuisine and shit, and like everything to run a restaurant. And yeah, maybe that other person does too, but again, it's like, it's something for me, it's loyalty. It's like, why not get it with the people that helped you get there in the first place?
Yeah.
So that's the end of episode 9, but we're gonna just save the chatter for after.
Oh yeah, all right.
So I actually did not fucking like this episode somewhat. Like, I would say I'm on the teetering point of 50% hating it and 50% loving it. The part that I hated the most was that one of the things that was shit, I forgot to bring up the last few things that happened in the episode. So I don't know, I couldn't make it out, but Sugar like sends a text message of her kid. And I don't know if it's to Mikey, like, because she's feeling, reminiscent of him.
Yeah.
And then Ted and Neil are like trying to pitch Carmy to fucking Claire. They're like, oh, he had a bad fucking day. And then she's like, no. He's like, well, I'll figure it out. But thank you guys for showing up and appreciate you fucking being here. But you need to fucking go. This is my job or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Carmy is looking at Claire's scrunchie at the end of the episode before he goes to Ever.
Yeah.
And just kind of playing into the fact that he hasn't moved on from her, seemingly because he continues to go in the refrigerator to relive that fucking moment. And then we start off with episode 10 with more flashbacks of Carmy in New York. And I'm not sure what the point of these things are, if not just to simply show that Carmy had mentors that weren't as malicious as the guy with the fucking glasses, the asshole he always talks about. So he's like tutoring him on techniques of how to like pull out a wishbone or some bullshit. And then he talks about this particular story about, what was it? The Pope's something?
Oh, the Pope's nose?
The Pope's nose.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. I enjoyed that little part.
Yeah.
Because he was telling about, why they call it the Pope's nose or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was cool.
So the mentor kind of gives this whole speech about what food means or what cooking means for other people. It's nurturing people. It's nurturing the restaurant. It's like the people that work in it and all this bullshit. And Carmy's nurturing himself, the guests, the farmers, and the ingredients, and he will leave a legacy behind, which was something that was brought forth in episode 9. So then we get flashes of different chefs. I don't know what the fuck the point was, but there's like this whole montage of just chefs being featured on magazines and shit. And I'm guessing they were the characters that were in the Ever restaurant with the funeral thing. But Carmy and Richie pass each other in Ever, which is kind of funny because they're like right next to each other, but they just pass each other. Luca and Carmy like catch up and hug each other. Richie's back at the kitchen with the boys.
Yeah.
Which was nice because I think we're starting to see, if anything, in season 4, this whole thing about Richie being alone, like this woman Jess seems to be the.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna bone her. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That was gonna be one of my predictions for season 4.
Yeah.
But because I have a few predictions of what I think is gonna happen for season 4.
All right.
But we'll get to that at the end. But did you write down anything about the part where Luca's talking to that fucking one guy?
I did.
Okay,
I did. Yeah.
All right. We'll get to it then because I think that was fucking hilarious. But anyways.
Yeah. Service. So Service are figuring out where they'll go afterwards, or Richie's like asking, like, oh, where do you think you're gonna go? Like, I don't fucking know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, and then Richie. I think it's funny that like the people that are front of house like stick with front of house. They don't want to be around the chefs and vice versa. Like they just kind of segregate into that way. And then we get to the part of Luca talking to some world-renowned chef, and he's talking about like his techniques or what bullshit, and then eventually he's like, I'm gonna go this way. He just fucks off because he's annoyed by Luca, which is fucking hilarious, dude.
Yeah, he's like, like mid-sentence, he's like, I gotta go over here, and then he's just like, and then what did he say? He's like, I said something too much. He's like,
why the fuck did I say?
I don't know, some fucking things like, why did I say that so much? He's like,
yeah.
He's like, God damn it.
I feel like I'm fucking Luca, dude.
Yeah.
I said like last fucking week. I think I said basically like fucking 20.
18 times. Yeah. Fuck. Why did I say basically so much?
So Sid arrives at Ever. Sid meets Luca and all the chefs. Jess calls out the orders, much like she did in the previous episodes when Richie was working at Ever. Garrett talks about plate he's serving. The fuck? Why did I write that down? Garrett talks about plate he's serving. I don't remember why.
I think they were talking about, he was explaining why they were serving these dishes or whatever. That night, like for what they signified or what they meant or whatever.
Right.
I don't remember what it was that he said, but
yeah,
I think I remember vaguely going, "Oh, okay." Like,
yeah. So then this is the part that was like a fucking minus for me. Was when it's Carmy, Luca, and Sid, and they're hanging around all these chefs that had done all these things, and all these chefs are talking about their greatest achievements, all their accolades, and it was just ass hattery at its finest, dude. And it took up, I think, like 5 or 10 minutes. I'm like, I don't care about these fucking guys.
Yeah.
Give me drama. Give me fucking Carmy and Sid beefing or something.
It wasn't even ass hattery. It was just fucking a massive self-cocksucking session. I was like, what is going on here? Who cares about these fucking assholes?
Yeah. And I think it was just maybe the meta part is that they're like, okay, let's just get all these world famous chefs and shove them into an episode so that we could say we had them on or whatever.
Guess.
But I'm like, I don't really care about these guys. I just want to see what happens with the main character.
And I think the narrative reason for that was because they're trying to show like this lady who ran Ever. Oh, she knows all these people and has worked with them over the years. Like this lady really is someone of note and like should be taken, I don't know, seriously, but also I think that kind of gave her credibility because what she tells him at the end of the episode, that little secret, I was like, oh, yeah, I don't care about any of these assholes. And listen, I already thought this lady knew what the fuck she was doing. I didn't need this extra layer of bullshit to like convince me, but I think that's narratively why the reason they did that.
And also for Carmy to validate themselves that they're in the company of people.
Greatness,
greatness. To say that they are on their path of greatness themselves. So then, I was swiping up. Should I talk about their experiences? Oh man, the fucking part. So there's one chef. This is how you know these people are fucking arrogant pricks, much like Carmy. She's talking about how her first dish, because everybody was talking about their first dishes, and one was talking about, oh my God, I made a fucking dish that had 12 elements.
Oh yeah,
elements.
What? Wow. Unbelievable. Oh my God, it had like 12 elements in it, and I was like, why the fuck did you call it elements?
Yeah.
That is some fucking stuck up, nose straight up in the air.
Yeah.
Fucking
poo
nonsense. Yeah.
Fucking Grey Poupon bullshit. So Carmy spots his old fucking teacher, the asshole that we've seen in previous flashbacks.
Oh, yeah,
man. He's like making eye contact with him. He's like, says how it's like one of the worst experiences he's ever had. he thinks he developed an ulcer. He has PTSD. He constantly throws up all the time, or that he like has breathing problems. And then so his teacher and him make eye contact, and then Chef Terry comes in and gives a speech about how the joy of one of the things about cooking is like you get the joy of watching generations come in and be regulars, and says people and not the food is the thing that people remember of a restaurant. And, Richie asks Jess if there's a secret to staying inspired, and Jess brings up that she believes that surrounding herself with people better than herself is what keeps her fucking, tip top, I suppose. Luca checks on Carmy, fixed on his asshole teacher. They eventually, Carmy approaches his teacher, and he's like, all he wanted to say was like "fuck you," and then they kind of turn into a whole conversation. He's like, "Well, I don't really think about you." Like that shit was funny as fuck, dude.
Fucking. He's like, "I think about you all the time," and he's like, "Huh?" He's like, I've never thought about you once. I don't think about you at all."
And then he replies, "You're welcome."
Oh yeah, man. Oh, he's so like, good, man.
Says Carmy was an okay chef, but he brought him to another level, and this is something that was brought up, I think, in season 2 or 3 about stripping away things from your life, like breaking things down, not just in life itself, but even when Carmy makes dishes. If you notice, like he takes away things, like he puts a bunch of shit and then he starts like stripping away things. So he believes that as a result of his teachings, his methods, that he made Carmy an exceptional chef. And he's like, fuck me. I don't know. Carmy's like having this revelation. He's like, this is what it took to be great. This is what it took to be sitting at this fucking table, was this asshole teaching me how to be all these things. And it came at the cost of Claire, his like relationship with Claire.
Yeah. And I think that, because that's why they were showing the opposite side of that. Because we've been seeing this dude fucking light up Carmy every fucking other episode, right? We get flashbacks of it. It's a major event in his life. And I think that's why we got that sequence with the Pope's nose thing, because this was showing the nurture versus nature aspect of, I guess, teaching and handing down, knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And there are those two schools of thought. There are the thought of that guy where he's explaining this exactly how it should go, and then there is that other guy who does the exact opposite and takes the militaristic, the basic training type of approach where hurry up, what are you doing, you're fucking this up. And I will say both methodologies work. They are both effective. I don't think that you need to exclusively be on one or the other, and I think that's evident with Carmy. Yeah, the one that fucked him up the most was the one that gave him basically PTSD.
And he's also passing along to his fucking subordinates.
Yes, and that's the problem. And I think that's something that Carmy fucking realized after that conversation, because you kind of see it. And that dude who plays him did a really good job of at least portraying that visually, because you don't get anything that shows that he's doing this other than visual cues. But it looks like he's realizing, oh shit, I've essentially lived long enough to become the villain. Like, I have become this guy. And now that he had this, I don't know what you want to call it, closure moment, I guess, by being able to confront him, even though it didn't really go his way.
Dude, that's the worst part, is that guy one-upped him. Like,
owned him.
Yeah, he fucking owned him. Yeah.
Owned his ass. And so now that he realizes this, though, I think that the next season, my theory is that he's going to change in his approach to this, and he's going to go towards more of that nurture. And then maybe when we get into the shit, that's when the nature portion is going to come out. But outside of, because he's like that all the time. He is yelling at people and getting crazy at every moment. And that's when it's like, no, man, there's a time and there's a place for that. And then there's a time and the place for the other thing. And I think he realized that visually. I think that's what I got. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. No, if you have anything more to add.
No, I just thought that whole conversation was fucking hilarious. And he basically tells him, like, yeah, you should be saying thank you. Like, you're fucking welcome. Because, again, you came to me kind of okay, but you left with greatness. Like, you were a great chef when you left.
Yeah.
And he's right. Sometimes it takes that beating down, stripping someone down to their base level, and then building them back up again. That's what it takes.
Yeah, and Carmy, in spite of the fact that he took like severe punishment from that teacher, was able to teach and level up his entire staff by not being an asshole.
Yeah.
So it's like, it worked for them in that way.
Right,
You don't have to be that guy, but he fucking resorts to that whenever he thinks things are going shitty.
Yeah, exactly.
So then we cut to Luca and Sid talking about siblings, and Luca says it was good having someone to acknowledge life's moments, and Luca asks if she has someone like that besides her father, and then Sid's like, well, and I think we were getting to the point where maybe Carmy was going to be the person that Sid mentioned, since they're kind of on equal grounds. Well, not really, but they've been showcased as having something of a sibling or possible romantic relationship. I don't know. Luca and Garrett apparently don't like each other because I think he made a comment. He's like, hey, are you still leaving smudges on fucking plates? And Garrett's like, fuck.
He's like, fuck you, buddy. You son of a bitch.
Chef Terry talks about watching a building being built next to Ever as like Carmy and her kind of having this moment after the food's been served and everything. Carmy says he learned a lot working at Ever thanks to Chef Terry. And then Chef Terry, pretty much at the end of a career of being a chef, she just mentions she just wants to be human again. And Chef Terry answers Carmy's question about being in his position, like kind of just being in a position of starting a new restaurant and doing what he's doing. And she says she believes that there's invincibility in not knowing what you're doing, which I think kind of speaks to what we're doing. I don't know why I was thinking about that, but it makes me think like ignorance is somewhat the way to go because you don't know what's right and wrong, and you can just experiment and do all these things that you don't know if it's wrong, but it might lead to something new.
Yeah, like honestly, what she was saying, I've had the same thought. I was like, God damn, that's a great fucking like line that applies to fucking us.
Yeah.
And it is like, man, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, but that's not a bad thing because not knowing what you're doing can lead to some outside the box thinking and maybe coming up with a new way to do something.
Yeah.
As opposed to, follow my fucking guide on how to get your podcast, But if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, just start and see what happens.
Yeah. So then we get Andrea, who is Chef Terry. She's like, I want to be addressed as Andrea now. Like, I want to live life. When the next time you see me, Carmy, I'm fucking Andrea. I'm just a person.
Yeah. And then he says, yes, chef.
Yes, chef. What an asshole. So everyone stares. They're all these characters are standing in the chef's kitchen, and they're all staring at the every second counts. Garrett hands the sign to Chef Terry, and then we transition over to the last like 10 or 15 minutes of the episode where there's a party at Sid's apartment. Chef Terry puts together these fucking monstrosities of like food. I don't even know what the fuck it was. It was like frozen pizza, bagels, and like caviar and whatever bullshit. And then Sid is having like, she just steps out for a second and just starts having a fucking panic attack. And then Carmy's like walking down the street after the party, and he gets a text message and he gets a notification that the Bear review is in, and he gets calls and texts from Cicero and computer. So what are your thoughts? Like, what are your thoughts about the future of this fucking show?
All right, so I'll just say this.
Predictions.
The ending thing with all those, it was showing just highlights of words and not giving us what the review was. And then him saying, oh, shit. But it wasn't like, I don't know if it's a good oh shit or a bad oh shit. Because they showed us all of the words, and they would show us like a positive word, then a negative word, a positive word, then a negative word. So it's like,
50.
What the fuck does this? They left us on the worst possible fucking cliffhanger, which I get it. They want us to watch again, which of course, we're gonna have to fucking watch to find out what happens.
Yeah.
My theory on this is that the review is going to not be bad. It's going to be what they showed us. It's going to be like maybe like a 3.5 or a 4 or something, but it's not going to be what they needed, but it's not also going to be the thing that's going to kill them. So now they're like, fuck, we're going to we need to have some more. We need to up our game then because of these things they said. And I think there was a reason why they showed Luca saying that he was going to be out for the next several months because of his sister. I think Luca's going to join up in the Bear somehow. Carmy's going to get him to come in next season, and that's going to be part of them like changing things up or trying to take other routes or suggestions. He's going to bring him in as like an advisor maybe or something to that effect.
Man, I mean, yeah, that does seemingly kind of fit into place because in terms of the story, I think Sid moves on, and there's going to be some kind of divide between Carmy and Sid. She gets her restaurant. And I don't know how that plays out, but then that kind of leaves the sous chef or whatever, the second senior position to Carmy.
Yes. And maybe he brings in Luka.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's because again,
it's plug and play.
Yeah,
because he has the experience and he has the knowledge,
and they have chemistry already because they know each other. So like,
yeah,
I feel like that's that, and I feel like that's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be just as an advisor or if it's going to be because Sydney says fuck it and goes with the other place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't predict what that's going to be, but I do for sure think that that was very deliberate in them having that little conversation between her and Sydney by him saying, oh, I'm going to be out here for the next like 2 or 3 months. So we all know that the next season's going to pick up literally the second after he gets that fucking review thing or whatever. So there's going to be no time no time warp or time skip. So theoretically they should have like Luka should be around for the whole fucking of season 4. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think is going to happen with that. I kind of do think Sydney's going to stay. I think she's going to stay. And then I think what's going to end up happening is at the end of the show, I think season 4 is going to be it. I really don't think they have much more to go with.
I don't think they have much more.
And if they do try to extend it into a season 5, it's probably going to be terrible. I think that they've edged us long enough. We need to get to the fucking we need to get to the point of this, right?
Yeah.
So season 4 should be that, and then I think what'll happen is we'll get like a finale and then like a post finale episode where we're gonna get the bear closes. And then the post finale is going to kind of give us the closure of showing them what they did afterwards. And that's when we're going to see Sydney's going to get called by that dude, Garrett or whatever. And he's going to be like, oh God, I heard the bear closed. Hey, I'm just sorry to fucking hear that. But I've been through like 2 or 3 CDCs already and it hasn't even been that long. Like, listen, my offer still stands if you want to come. And she goes, fuck yeah, and takes it. Then she goes. Then, Marcus is going to open up his own little pastry shop out of his house or something. Who the fuck knows how he's going to do it. And I don't know. Carmy will probably kill himself. That's what I think is probably going to happen.
I think for a show like this, I think it'd be fitting if it ended on a sad note or whatever.
Yeah, it's going to be a poor fuck. It's going to be a bad note.
I think it'd be. I don't want to say it would be preferred, but it would actually be a nice surprise if it didn't. If everything didn't end in a happy ending. Like maybe some people win, some people don't.
Right. I want to see the subordinate characters win. Like we know Richie's going to bone this fucking chick. Richie's going to get a happy ending out of this.
Yeah.
Marcus will get a happy ending. Ibra will get a happy ending. Tina will get a happy ending. Sydney, it may be up in the air whether that's good or bad, whatever ending she gets. Carmy, it's bad ending. Maybe Cicero will kill him. I don't know. Maybe who the fuck knows? But I do think that the show needs to end with the bear being toast. Like
I think it actually will happen. Okay, so I think my prediction for what happens. I already think it's strange that Computer called Carmy on his own and Cicero called it on his own. I think he wasn't trying to wait around for Cicero to call Carmy and say, hey, this isn't going to work out either way. Whether you get the 3 Michelin stars or you don't, this isn't going to work out. And then Computer just jumped the gun and said it anyways.
Yeah.
But I think Carmy actually gets the Michelin star. He sells like the actual main restaurant itself and the little piece.
The beef he keeps after. He just keeps doing that.
He's like, all right, I'll let you have. I don't even know if that's even possible, like as far as real estate goes. But if he ends up selling just the main portion, like the bear itself, like that'll be the thing. Like that's how he'll lose. Carmy will lose in the next season. Is that he like even though he made the bear come to life, it's not going to last. But he ends up taking over the beef once again, and then maybe he just gets to serve like classy shit every once in a while.
What if Cicero is the investors on the other side for Garrett to open this new restaurant? Like, what if he's secretly the investors on that side? And that's why now there's problems because he's like, oh shit, I was trying to double dip and maybe like because this restaurant thing might have been good. Now he's trying to double dip and then oh shit, well fuck it. The bear got a bad review. Cool. He closes it and then he brings them in to fucking run this new thing out of there.
Oh man, it would actually be hilarious if he sells the property
and they buy it.
And they buy it, Sid, and so that she ends up overtaking it, and then Carmy just has the beef.
He's got this little side.
That would be fucking awesome. Like that would be, I think, a making for a good 4th season.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what else happens beyond that, but I do think Richie, like, predictably will end up with Jess, and he'll like kind of have his relationship aspirations fulfilled.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what happens with. I don't know what happens with Carmi. Like I really.
Yeah,
don't fucking
that's up in the air. I think right now. I also really hope that we don't get a fucking wedding episode. I do not care about that storyline at all. I give no fucks.
I don't want it.
And I feel like because they've been hyping it so much, because it's been talked about a lot this fucking season. They're gonna have a fucking wedding episode, and that's gonna be when it's revealed that Richie and Jess are boning because he's gonna bring her as his +1.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna be this whole thing. But here's the problem: I don't give a fuck.
I swear to God.
We're skipping that episode.
I swear to God, they better not go for that fucking Friends bullshit where Ross is gonna get married.
Yeah.
And then Rachel shows up, and then the woman, his ex-wife, is gonna be like, oh my God, he actually has somebody, and he's actually doing all right for himself. He's like become the responsible adult I always wanted him to be. Fuck, I don't know if I can let this girl have him.
Oh my God.
I swear, if that fucking happens, dude, I'm gonna be pissed.
You know that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know that's exactly what the fuck's gonna happen. And I'm preemptively pissed right now.
And I hope fucking Richie doesn't take her back, dude, because fuck that bitch.
Fuck her. She fucked up. All right.
Well, anyways, this season, I'm giving it like a 5.5 out of fucking 10.
Oh yeah, I was a solid 5 out of 10. About half the episodes were good and moved the story along. The other half were just kind of don't really care.
Yeah, I will say I'm eager to know what the fucking review is and what's going to be the news for the bear itself. I'm sure it's going to go under.
Oh yeah,
and Carmi's going to be in some fucking bullshit situation. So
yeah, definitely. Anyways,
it.
Cool. All right. Well, you got anything else to add?
Nope.
All right, cool. Let's get the fuck out of here. Go to GameRageMagazine.com. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine, Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag, YouTube, Game Rage Magazine. Follow Adam at All Gas No Trash Official. Go listen to the All Gas No Trash podcast. If you like anime, go listen to the Anime Syndicate and follow along there at anime_syndicate_podcast on Instagram. And, stay tuned for whatever the fuck it is we're going to do next, because we're still kind of trying to figure that shit out. So
I think it might be Severance.
Severance? Yeah, I think you're right. I think we are going to do Severance. So that's what we're going to do. It's going to be Severance. Stay tuned for that. And fucking A. All right. We're out of here.
Oh, hey there, buddy. It's me, 1930s announcer guy, here to congratulate you on making it through this episode. As our heroes are getting in their jalopies and riding off into the literal sunset, they wanted me to tell you thanks for listening to their radio broadcast, and should you be so kind as to follow them on some fancy schmancy radio station publication called Instagram and TikTok at Game Range Magazine, and on some other thing called Twitter/X at Game Range Mag. Also, they wanted me to inform you and ask if you could be so kind again as to visit something called a website at www.GameRageMagazine.com. I don't know what that is, buddy, but you should probably go do those things. And, don't forget to tune in next time to the Game Rage Movies and TV radio broadcast.